Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, Manjaro 18 came out the other day, and so I wanted to have a quick look at it. And of course, like usual, we are going to start by jumping on over and looking at their website. So Manjaro, if you are unaware, this is a Arch-based rolling release distro. I like, if I were to use Arch, Manjaro is the way I like to do it. It plays a lot easier with more hardware than Antergos. It has a lot better control over your kernel modules, and it has a little bit more vetting of packages before they're rolled out to it. That being said, Arch isn't nearly as unstable as maybe it used to be. I've run Manjaro several times on my computers without running any issues. I'm more comfortable in the Debian branch, which is why I run Mint and some other things. And additionally, I don't like my software constantly changing their versions, and that's one of the things that happens. But for those that do need to always stay on the cutting edge, Manjaro is definitely the best Linux distro that I would recommend for a person in that case. And I really like it. And I've used the basic XFCE, I've used the Budgie, and I've used Deepin quite extensively. So of course, the new version came out. So let's have a look at their news. And with the news, basically there's a lot of changes. There's some major changes in the KDE, and there's some major changes in the Budgie. I believe there's some new versions. On top of that, it does have the Linux kernel 4.19, but it maintains, I think you can still use 8 or 10 or so kernels right out of the box directly from the repos. And so also they've increased some Nvidia support and increased some more netbook support. So in theory, if you have a newer type of system, you might actually get a little bit better support out of this. The other thing about it is if you come on over to the downloads and you take a look at the downloads, there's some official flavors, XFCE being their primary. This is the one we're going to be looking at today. They also have an official KDE, official GNOME, and then they have the Architect. I believe this one allows you basically to, build the system the any way you like. But they also have, under the download link, they have some community releases. Much like Ubuntu has a variety of community releases. These are current spins. So they have the Awesome. They have BSPWM. And then Budgie, this is one of my favorites because I do like the Budgie desktop environment quite a bit. Cinnamon being my favorite desktop environment. They have Deepin, and I did an extensive video set on the Deepin, both Deepin OS and Manjaro, and a comparative between the two. And then they have the i3, LXDE, LXQT. This would be like running Peppermint Manjaro style. And then we have the Mate desktop and OpenBox. So there are a lot of official flavors, probably more, I think, on this than anything else as far as easy to install official flavors. Like I said, we're going to run this in the, XFCE for this. And so let's go ahead and start up our VirtualBox and go ahead and see what we can do here. All right, so when we are started with the screen here, we have a few options. We can choose our keyboard, our time zone, our language, and then driver. So if you're using like Nvidia, you might want to enable the non-free. So free and non-free will determine what type of driver set you're using. If you're trying to install this and you have some compatibility issues, go ahead and change this driver to non-free, and then determine what you're going to boot. And let's just go ahead and click the button there, and we are off and running. So of course we're going to be booting this into a live, and then so what we're going to do here is as this boots into live, let's just go ahead and run the install, and we'll see how long that takes. All right, so we are now booted into the desktop, and we are greeted with the screen here. This is the welcome screen. So we have README documentation, a variety of supports, things like this. And then we have this nice button here to launch the installer. Let's just go ahead and launch the installer. All right, so over here we can choose what is our various language set, what is our location, keyboard, all this stuff kind of looks good. Let's see what kind of partitions we get. Oh, we already have one package updater to go. Gathering system information. All right, so here we can install alongside. We can replace a partition. We're just going to go ahead and erase the disk if I can. There it goes. So we're going to go ahead and erase the disk. You can see it's giving us Manjaro. It's giving us this huge swap partition. But, oh, well, I don't care. All right, name of the computer. We're going to call it Manjaro. All right, and we're going to log in. We don't need to log in automatically. We're going to use the same password for the administrator account. You can keep that separated if you want to. All right, so we have installed, and we are back into the VirtualBox. First thing I notice is I don't have my full screen at this point in time. We're going to go ahead and see if we can do that. So, of course, everything here is the same except the applications button is different. So here is a place where we can add new applications. So this is actually a pretty nice application manager. So we can come over here. We can see Firefox is installed. It gives us all of the other browsers that are available. This is an awesome setup here. It gives us Thunderbird. We have a few other options here as well. I prefer Evolution. That's kind of my favorite. I'm not going to make any application changes yet. Backup utilities. We have Timeshift and Deja Dupe. Never heard of that one. Text editors, we give a mouse pad, and we have a few other options. So you can kind of walk through here and see what options you have and what you can install. So I really like this system. This is a very nice tool out of the box. Let's go first into display and see if I can get my screen running full screen or not. Hopefully I can. Well, maybe. Apparently display did not want to work for me. Let's try that again. Yeah, apparently the display doesn't want to work for me. So that's kind of sad. Kind of saddens me here. Okay, can we just do settings manager? Let's try this. Let's go with display here. Yeah, apparently I'm not going to be able to change my display settings there. And I don't remember my terminal commands for that. I'm sure somebody does, but I'll miss them in my comments going through. So we're just going to go ahead and just use it with the small screen. As far as the theming, I generally like the Manjaro XFCE theming. I think it looks better than most of the other XFCEs. Of course, with XFCE, you can drag your menu. You can make it bigger, smaller. It has a search bar right out of the box. It opens up to your favorites, and you have all the variety of different tools here. So under accessories, we have our archive manager, the calculator, device manager for HP, whole lot of things. So if you are into a minimal system, this may or may not be your thing. As far as memory, it's using 8% of the total memory. There's 6 gigs on here, so it's using a fairly small amount of memory. So that's kind of good news. As far as, let's see, education, we have math, games, we have Steam pre-installed. For graphics, we have GIMP pre-installed on this. And internet, Firefox. We do have Skype, which some people might really like. Some people might find that a little creepy or bad. We have Audacious for listening to music, VLC. There's some Pulse Audio for adjusting your volume settings. And then these guys here, I believe these are going to be links to the online inside of like a container. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case. So yeah, so this is basically taking us to a web interface container for that. So I guess what I'd have to say about this is good in the event that for people who utilize these Microsoft services, this is great. But this is bad in the respect that, you know what? Some people probably don't want to boot up a Linux distro when they're escaping Microsoft for privacy and then find all of these things. So what I've generally done is I go in and when I install these, I just kind of wipe out all of these things out of the box. I'm just not really interested in seeing all of that out of the box. That's just my thought. Another observation somebody made is that, yeah, the desktop icons are very small. I'm sure we can change all that in our settings. Let's go ahead and look at the systems. We have our add remove software. So Manjaro, this is the same package manager that you're going to get from any Manjaro build, which is a little different. Some distros are going to give you whatever package manager comes with that. For example, you'll get Discovery with KDE, and I'm pretty sure that you will still always get this one here, which, if I remember correctly, is POMAC. And apologies if I'm not pronouncing that correct. Of course, you can come into your preferences, and we need to enter our password to authenticate into there. And then this is where you can remove unrequired dependencies. You can enable that or disable that. Here's your official repositories. You can use mirrors from direct locations. You have the ability to enable the Arch user repository. Okay, so some people will warn you against using the Arch user repository. Some people, if you need it, will turn it on, search for a package, and then turn it off. The good news about it is it will have virtually anything you want installed. The bad news about it is it will have anything, and there's not a lot of checking as to what's in there. So you got to be careful with that. And then you can clean the caches out and things like that. So that's the good thing about the system. I really like this tool. You also have the ability to right-click the Manjaro logo there and have a lot of kernels to choose from. So this one is currently running 4.19. You have the variety of using a whole lot of different kernels right out of the box. They said that they have more kernels than anybody. I actually think Linux Mint might have more. And I know I think I run like 4.4 or something on mine, I think. But this is running 4.19 right now. You have the ability to move between any of these kernels builds that you want as you are going through. Here is a notice for update. So you do get a very nice update indicator in the panel, which is very nice. I keep on typing my password wrong to update that. I can't type today. There we are. I think that's right, but I'm not completely sure. All right. Yep, that was right. All right. There should be a few other applications in here we want to look at. Let's see. Add remove software. Manjaro Hello, which has the original software that we looked at before. So this applications tool is the one that we looked at before. So this one here is, so there's some more of the advanced and the basic. You can go in and you can look for software by individual categories. I'm not sure what's going on with our display application. That's not running for some reason. I don't know why that is. We have a settings manager, settings editor, Manjaro notification settings. So this will enable, so if you want to be notified of various kernels or not, you can enable that, which will give us various notifications. Qt5 settings. All right, so this is a settings configuration for XFConfig. So basically just toggles, turning things on and off. I'm not as familiar with this system. Mostly I just don't use XFCE a whole lot. But if you know what that is, you can get in there and use that. Oh, that's the one I just had. All right, so inside of your settings, we can change our appearance, our desktop. Let's see, preferred applications. Gotta remember where the full settings panel is again. I don't use XFCE enough. I should use it more. It's good. I'm just not as familiar with it. I always had the same problem with on this and on Mate finding all the entire settings panel. Okay, there's our workspaces. There's one panel that'll control all of that. There we are. That's what I was looking for. All right. So here you can adjust the About Me. This is kind of your user preference. You can enter in information. Under Appearance, these are the various themes that we have. So we can change our theme settings like this. And again, I have always thought that Manjaro did the best job of theming up XFCE than anybody. I've always really liked their settings more than anyone. Here's your desktop, so you can a lot of wallpapers to choose from. That's pretty cool. A lot of nice wallpapers. Let's do that, and then zoom back in. Here's our menus. Here's our icons. Let's bump these up. That's not adjusting the desktop icons, I don't think. Yeah, I think that is. There we are. So now we got our icons a little bit bigger. All right. Notifications. This is... we can turn on or off a do not disturb method. And then for the theming, you can adjust the theming. You can adjust the position. Where do your notifications appear? So you have a variety. So there's a preview of what they look like. And then we have a variety of themes. Window Manager, window tweaks, preferred applications. As far as your panels on XFCE, you can add a variety of panels. We have one panel at the bottom, which is kind of set up like a Windows type model. You can actually put the panels horizontally. You can put it vertically. So there's putting the panel vertically, and then you have Desk Bar, which is a vertical, but then it inverts the icons. You can see what the difference looks like there. So you have a variety of ways, and you can drag the panels and put them anywhere. You can add multiple panels to them, and then there's a lot of different things you can do. It does have some of the best settings for panel settings and things like that. All right, let's see, Settings Editor. I think that's the same one we looked at before. Manjaro settings. All right, so this is a Manjaro settings configurator. So you can configure your various settings, user accounts, time, date, kernels, and then hardware configuration. This one's going to behave kind of like your drivers tool inside of Ubuntu. So you can see that it's installing VirtualBox things, which in theory we should actually be able to get in here, launch that displays application, and get into here. But for whatever reason, it's just not allowing the displays application to work. So that could be something that could be fixed with just rebooting the system. Here's our firewall. Probably disabled on default because that's what it usually is. I still can't type right now. All right, so you can see here we can enable our firewall. I generally keep firewalls disabled because the firewall I have in my office is pretty beefy. So, all right, so that's Manjaro. Looks pretty good. I like the the extra kernels. It seems to me very good. This theming is just fine to me. Some people who are used to Manjaro didn't like this theming as much. If I'm remembering vaguely, I do think I vaguely liked it before a little bit better, but this theming is still nice. It's fine. Certainly, definitely one of my favorite distributions, worth taking a look at. So that's my thought. Leave the thoughts in the comments below what your thoughts are. And don't forget to take a look at our shop, shop.switchedtolinux.com. You can pick up coffee cups, mouse pads, things like that, t-shirts. We also have extra support items at switchedtolinux.com/support, which will have all of the ways you can help support the channel, and check us out on Patreon. patreon.com/TomM. So thanks for coming along and hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.